Welcome you all to this 38th session and the last session on unit number 3 of banking law and operations. We are discussing banking operations. In that, three aspects were there: collecting banker, paying banker, and lending operations. Under lending operations, we have discussed various precautions to be taken by lending banker while lending types of lending facilities offered by him and NPA. In this session, we are going to discuss on impact of NPA on the banking as well as the economy as a whole. Then regulations of priority lending for commercial banks issued by RBI in India. Let us start the session. Causes or reasons for NPA. Before going to discuss the impact of NPA, let us throw light on causes or reasons for NPA. The banking sector has been facing the serious problems of rising NPAs, non-performing assets. Some of the main causes of NPA are inefficiency on the banker to recover such loans and advances, willful defaults by the persons who have availed the loan facility from banks, natural calamities. Because of natural calamities like a pandemic, etc., business concerns may not be in a position to earn their profits. Therefore, they may find it difficult to settle their dues towards banks and financial institutions. Industrial sickness, sluggish in the legal system. There may be problems in legal system itself, or the banker while entering into the contract might have done some mistakes, etc. They may give the right to the persons who have taken loan not to pay off their loans. So such situations may arise. Then you may heard of what is happening in case of Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya. Because of legal system only, they are not caught yet. So unfavorable business cycles prevailing in the economy, defective and relaxed lending process. There may be some defects in lending process itself, lending policies of the government, lending policies of the banking sector itself. Then priority sector lending, there are some essential sectors where the banks have to provide loans and advances like education, like agriculture, like alleviation of poverty schemes, etc. These are somewhat unproductive in nature. Education loan normally will be taken first, and the interest or principal will be paid back after that student has completed his course and starts earning. So until then, the banker has to wait to get back his money because of government's directives. So such case NPS may be there. Inappropriate technology, poor quality of management of loans and advances, environmental related permits. Some projects may get permission from the government, but there may be some environment related problems to start such projects. Managerial deficiencies and absence of monitoring and follow up is also one of the reasons for NPA. Let us discuss them in point wise. The following are the main reasons or factors responsible for the emergence of NPA. First one says the promoters' failure to bring their own equity capital in time, non-subscription or under-subscription of the issue of shares, and the sudden crash of capital markets, resulting in failure to raise adequate funds from the stock exchange markets. As a result, the management may have to face time cost overrun during the stage of project implementation. This is from the viewpoint of a company or business organization starting up its new venture. In such a case, there may be some problems at the inception of the project itself. The promoters, there may be a problem of promoters. They may not bring their own equity capital to start that company. Non-subscription or under-subscription of shares issued by such companies by general public, or there may be crash in the capital market is not supporting to raise funds through like IPOs, initial public offer of shares and debentures. As a result, the management, such promoters or company management, may have to face time cost overrun during the stage of project implementation. So project has not started, therefore there are no earnings, and because of that they are unable to pay off their dues towards banks or financial institutions, those have provided finance to such projects. Okay. Second point is the reckless grant of loans and advances without proper credit appraisal system. Taking into account the goodwill of a company or a personality, banks may grant loans on personal security without taking collateral security. If that person becomes insolvent or is committing such, he is taking such decisions which are not profitable for him, in such a case, he will incur huge losses. So what has happened? What had happened in case of Vijay Mallya? Same thing. He has invested so much of funds on airlines. So he incurred loss. So because of that loss, he could not return back the loans provided by financial institutions. Now he is in England. So in such reckless grant of loans without taking securities will lead to NPS. Third point says the diversion of funds for promoting expansion of modernization or diversification or new projects or associate concerns, and also using short-term loans to long period transactions. So short-term loans have to be provided for short-term objectives only. Long-term funds should be lent on long-term objectives only. If there is exchange of funds for between short-term and long-term, there arises a problem of NPA. The bottlenecks in the supply of inputs such as raw material, power, and inadequate and insufficient infrastructure facilities available in the country also acts as a point to NPA. These will hinder the profitability of the concerns which have taken loans for establishing infrastructure facilities. In such a case, inadequate supply of inputs like raw materials, power, labor, etc., and improper infrastructure facilities to such new companies or to such new projects may uh, make such companies to incur losses in the initial stages itself, and they may not be in a position to pay off their dues towards banks. Business failures due to product failure, inefficient management, labor problems, obsolete technology, outdated technology, etc., may also lead to uh, loss, and such loss may lead to inefficiency on such business firms to pay off their dues, and because of that, the bankers have to suffer in non-performing assets. Granting loans to certain sectors like non-priority and neglected sectors such as weaker sections of society, unemployed youth, etc., without guarantee and security as per the directives of the government. Don't think that these will become ineffective, or they all the loans given to these sections like weaker sections of society, unemployed youth will not produce anything. They will help in the large interest of the country. They will help unemployed youth, weaker sections of society, weaker sections of trade, industry, etc., small scale industries. We have to support them to improve themselves. So such a case, there may be non-payment of such loans provided to such uh, sections because of their own reasons. They are not applying such funds profitably. They are recklessly using such funds on various establishments. Like that, it happens. So, in such a case, the banker will not get back his money in time and may have to have NPAs, non-performing assets, in its balance sheet. Changes in government's economic policies relating to export and import tariffs, controls and regulations, liberalization of economy, which may affect the small scale industrial and business units because of severe competition from large scale units, also leads to NPAs. Then the recession and depression phases of business cycle in the economy, and also natural calamities may adversely lead to NPA. Depression, although there is no demand, inflation is very high, and customers are not the general public are not having money with them to spend. Such situations may lead to depression, recession, and the other reason like natural calamities may also lead to NPAs. Very slow legal recourse available to collect dues from borrowers also lead to NPA. Same thing which is happening in case of, I have already mentioned, Nirav Modi, then Vijay Mallya, etc. Slow legal recourse, slow legal process is going on. So they are at large and they are enjoying, but they are not paying money to the banks. So like that, if legal system is not effective in a country in collecting such dues from defaulters, then banks have to have their have NPAs in their balance sheet. The failure to recognize certain early signals such as underutilization of capacity, loss of important customers, declining sales, frequent requests for additional loans, delay in the payment of interest, installments of principal, dishonor of checks, etc., are the signals which may lead to the inefficiency of that person or that organization in paying their dues towards financial institutions. These signals provide a yardstick to the bankers, financial institutions, that they may not be in a position to get back their loans and advances. So, in such a case, they have to be very swift in their action and insist on such defaulting or such organizations and industries to pay back their dues immediately. Otherwise, they may result in uh, having NPA. Impact of NPA next. NPA non-performing assets impact the performance and profitability of banks. Non-performing asset is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it does not generate income for the banks, and at the other hand, banks are required to make provisions for such NPAs from their current profits, other profits. ಒಂದು ಅವುಗಳು ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಾಯ ತಂದುಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಆದಾಯ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬಿಡಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಆ ಆಸ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಲಾಭಗಳಿಂದ, ಬೇರೆ ಮೂಲಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂದಂತಹ ಲಾಭದಿಂದ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಒಡೆದಾಕಬೇಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಎರಡು ಹಲಗಿನ ಕತ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮನಿ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಡ್, the profitability of bank decreases not only by the amount of NPA, but NPA lead to opportunity cost also. ಬೇರೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬಹುದಂತ ಈ ಲಾಭಗಳು ಬಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಲಾಭಗಳನ್ನ ಬೇರೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಲಾಭ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಿರುವಂತ ಲಾಭ ಒಂದು ನಷ್ಟವನ್ನ ಭರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲಾಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವಕಾಶಗಳ ವೆಚ್ಚ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಭ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಲಾಭ ನಾವು ಕಳ್ಕೊತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈಗ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಅವಕಾಶದ ವೆಚ್ಚ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಷ್ಟ ಅದು. ಆ ಅವಕಾಶ ನಮ್ಮ ಇದ್ದು ಆ ಅವಕಾಶಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಹರಿವು ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ವಿನಿಯೋಗಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಲಾಭ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆ ಲಾಭವನ್ನ ಕಳೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಯಾಕೆ? ನಮ್ ಬಂದಂತ ಲಾಭವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ನಷ್ಟಗಳನ್ನ ಸರಿದೂಗಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವಿನಿಯೋಗಿಸಲಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಆಸ್ ದಟ್ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಅಸೆಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ NPA does not affect current profit but also future stream of profit, which may lead to loss of some long-term beneficial opportunity. The most notable impact of NPA is change in banker sentiments, bank employees sentiments, which may hinder credit expansion to productive purposes. So NPS ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ಗೆ ಸೈಕಲಾಜಿಕಲಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರು ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡಲು ಮುಂದೆ ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡೋದು ಮುಂದೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಪರ್ಪಸಸ್ಗೆ ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಹರಿವು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕತೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತೆ ಬೇಕಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ, ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು, ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ಹಿಂದೇಟಾಗ್ತವೆ. ಅಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಇದು ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ವಿದ್ಯಮಾನ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Banks may incline towards more risk-free investments. In such case, if bankers become averse to expansion, then they incline towards more risk-free investments to avoid and reduce riskiness, which is not conducive for the growth of the economy. Further, the recovery process adds to the risks of time for the employees and management of such banks. Apart from internal and external complexities, increase in non-performing assets directly affects banks' profitability and sometimes even their existence. So this happens. So many private banks have lost their existence due to this, because of NPA and insolvency. The impact or the effects of NPA can be analyzed as follows. First point, as the NPA do not bring income to the banks, they reduce earning capacity of the assets and thereby the profitability of the bank. Okay. Second one, the decline in profitability reduces the earning per share, reduces the dividends declared, and the bank may fail to attract potential investors in the shares of the towards the shares of the bank. ಸೊ ಲಾಭ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದರೆ ಷೇರುದಾರರು ಈ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೊರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲೀವ್ ಸಚ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಮನಿ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸೇಸ್ some assets such as doubtful assets and loss assets block the capital of the bank and cannot be used to recycle further loans. ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು, ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹಣನೇ ಸಿಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಲೋನ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಸಚ್ ಎ ಕೇಸ್ recycling of loans will be stopped if there is doubtful assets and loss assets, NPAs. This will reduce the turnover of loans and advances. The decline in the turnover of loans and advances not only reduce profitability again, but also capital adequacy in arms of banks. So it will affect the basis of the bank itself. The public sector banks, to maintain capital adequacy norms and to compete with private sector banks and foreign banks, will have to take recourse to IPOs. ಇನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಫರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಲಾಭ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಬಂಡವಾಳ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸು ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸು ಇದನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹಣಕಾಸಿಲ್ಲ, ಲಾಭ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಾಂಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಶೇರ್ಸನ್ನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಹೊಸ ಬಂಡವಾಳ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ತೊಂದರೆಗೆ ಒಳಪಡಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳನ್ನು. The credibility and image of the banks having NPA would be adversely affected. This is true. The creditworthiness of such banks will be affected worstly. The NPAs require a provision to be made for substandard and doubtful assets. So provisions will eat out the profits of other projects, profits earned by the bank through other assets. Seventh point says the NPAs result in additional costs to be incurred in the form of legal expenses for the recovery of loans and advances. This is one more expense. Addition to the loss of interest and installment of principal, the banks, to fight against such loan takers, have to incur legal expenses for the recovery of such loans and advances. So again, a loss to the company, loss to the banking organization. The banks have to pay interest on the deposits which are used to grant loans and advances to customers. ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಠೇವಣಿಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಾಲಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So they have to pay interest on the deposits of their customers. When these loans and advances become NPAs, non-performing assets, the banks would be adversely affected because the banks do not get any income from such loans and advances. ಆ ಒಂದು ಠೇವಣಿಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸಾಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಆ ಸಾಲಗಳ ಮರುಪಾವತಿ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಠೇವಣಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮರುಪಾವತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳು? So again it poses a big problem to banks having such NPAs, non-performing assets. The bank should maintain liquidity of their assets to repay their deposits or to redeem the deposits on their maturity dates. The banks find it difficult to maintain liquidity of their assets when they become non-performing assets. Is it not true? ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗಲೇ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಆದರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್, recurring deposits, they have to be repaid when they become due. If banks are finding it difficult to repay such deposits because of these non-performing assets, ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋಂಥ ಲೋನ್ ವಾಪಸ್ಸೇ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಇವರು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಠೇವಣಿಗಳ ಮೇಲಿನ ಹಣ ಕೊಡಲೇಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹಣಕಾಸನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ. The NPAs have a demoralizing effect on the operating staff, the staff of the bank. They adversely affect the decisions to be taken in sanctioning fresh loans. ಹೊಸ ಲೋನ್ಗಳು ಕೊಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಹಿಂದೇಟಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. As a result, the genuine borrowers may find it difficult to get loans from such banks. ಸರಿಯಾದ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿರುವಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಸಾಲವನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ತೊಂದರೆಯನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿರೋಂಥ ಸಾಲ ಯಾರು ಕಟ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ನಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೊಸ ಸಾಲಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಅಂಶ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬೆಳಕಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸಾಲ ಬೇಕಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಾಲ ಸಿಗದೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. In the long term, the shortage of funds to the industrial sector will affect the growth of the industrial sector. I think you can understand this. The fragile banking sector due to increasing NPA will ultimately give to fragile economy. So, ಏನು ಹಾಳಾಗ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮು, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಬೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕುಗಳೇ ಆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆಯ ಆಧಾರ ಸ್ತಂಭ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವು ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್, ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು. ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ಗಳಿಗಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ತೊಂದರೆ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಭಾವವನ್ನು ಬೀರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ NPAಗಳನ್ನು ತಡೆಯುವಂತಹ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಯಪ್ರವೃತ್ತವಾಗಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. Next, last aspect to be discussed here is regulations of priority lending for commercial banks. ನಿರ್ಬಂಧಗಳು, ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಲವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ನಿರ್ಬಂಧಗಳು. Priority sector lending refers to lending to those sectors of the economy which may not get timely and adequate credit in the absence of these special dispensation. ಈ ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ಬಂಧಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದೇ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಸೆಕ್ಟಾರ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಲವೇ ಸಿಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು RBI, ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಕೆಲವು ನಿರ್ಬಂಧಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇರಿದೆ. ಸಾಲವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಇಂತಿಂಥ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟಿಷ್ಟು ಸಾಲವನ್ನು ನೀಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ, ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ವೆಲ್ಫೇರ್, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಕಳಕಳಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಂಶವನ್ನು ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇರಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಲೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ an important role given by the RBI to the banks for providing a specified portion of the bank lending to a few specific sectors like agriculture and allied activities, MSMEs, export credit finance, education, housing for poor, social infrastructure development, renewable energy development, and others, which the Reserve Bank of India may think essential, may order. So every time there are various circulars were issued by RBI from time to time, and some percentage of loans, percentage of amount, percentage of total amount to be lent by commercial banks has to be earmarked for these priority lending sectors. So from time to time the percentage changes, the amount changes. Therefore, I am giving a link to you to understand what are all the regulations which have to be followed by commercial banks while lending. You can download such regulations issued by RBI recently. I told you that these regulations will change from time to time. So for the time being, whatever is there in this link in this website is to be followed by commercial banks. It is an elaborative one. If you read such things, you will come to know what are the regulations imposed by RBI on commercial banks with respect to priority lending. So that's all for now. Thank you. That ends the third unit. These are the books, and website also is given for knowing about NPAs and regulations on priority lending. You can also get so much of information from that website, rbi.org.in. Refer that. Thank you very much.